Hi, this is Joe from PrepAgent. Today, I want to go over some questions that we saw this week that we wanted to share with everybody. I'm going to try and do these every week, so stay tuned and subscribe to our channel and our Instagram so you can receive these. Hopefully this helps. So, let's begin. So, my first question is from Tom in Arizona, and he says, is a net lease and a net listing related? Is a net lease and a net listing related? No, they're not. So a net lease is one of the 4 leases you need to know for your exam. There are 4 leases you need to know: the percentage lease, sandwich lease, gross lease, and net lease. The net lease has to do with commercial, and it basically means the tenant pays for tax, insurance, and maintenance. So that is the net lease. The percentage lease means they pay based upon the money coming in, a percentage of those gross receipts. A sandwich lease is a lessor, is also the lessee, more commonly known as subletting. So that is a sandwich lease. And a gross lease is just when the tenant pays a set amount. That is your typical residential lease. But going back to your original question about the net lease, so the tenant pays for tax, insurance, and maintenance. A net listing is completely different. Net listing just means that when you list a property, you get paid based upon the money coming in over a designated price. So if the property sells for $500,000 and you bring in $550,000, you get $50,000. Now, if the property sells for $500,000 and you bring in $500,000, you get nothing. That is a conflict of interest that comes up, which is why a lot of states make it illegal to have net listings. And the states who have it legal generally frown upon it a lot because of that conflict of interest, because you don't want a property listed for $500,000, you bring in $500,000, you get nothing after you did all that work trying to get the buyer. So many agents will reject that offer in hopes to get more, even though it's the same amount of money for the seller. So that conflict of interest makes it illegal in many states and frowned upon in others. I hope that helps. Let's do another question. Are taxes a specific or general lien? Okay, so Jim from Washington asked that. That's a great question. This gets confused a lot, and the reason it gets confused is because it depends on the type of tax you're talking about. If you're talking about property tax, it is then a specific lien, meaning if you don't pay it, they just take the property. Whereas if it's income tax, that would be a general lien, which means they could take everything. Your property, your car, your bank account, your firstborn. No, not your firstborn. That'd be weird. So a specific lien is when they come after one thing specifically. An example would be property tax. Other examples of specific liens would be when you get a loan from the bank or when a worker files a complaint in the form of a mechanic's lien. So those would be specific liens. General liens are things like income tax. Also, judgment liens would be an example of a general lien when the court rules against you and says you owe money. That would be a general lien. So I hope that helps. Next question. So Jane from Georgia says, is economic obsolescence related to the economy of the neighborhood? Yes, it can be related to the economy of the neighborhood and much more. You have 3 forms of depreciation you need to know: functional obsolescence, physical deterioration, and economic obsolescence. Remember, the only one of those that is not a form of obsolescence is physical deterioration. That's when your house breaks down. And then you have functional obsolescence, which means your house suffers from poor design. In other words, you could remodel your house to fix functional obsolescence, and you could rehab your house to fix physical deterioration. This is why economic obsolescence is the most difficult to cure, because it's from reasons of outside the property lines. One of those reasons could be the economy of the neighborhood. The economy of the neighborhood takes a dive, either because a major corporation left or some other reasons. Then that could cause your property to lose value, which would be a form of depreciation, and that would be called economic obsolescence, also known as external obsolescence. The reason I bring up the word external, Because it's not just to do with the economy. It could be because of crime in the neighborhood, an airplane flying overhead, or I don't know, maybe they put in a new rock concert venue right outside your house. So there could be a lot of reasons that your property could lose value. Maybe the rock concert would help. It depends if you like the music or not, right? So I hope that helps. You understand that economic obsolescence, yes, one of the causes could be a bad economy, but it's really anything that's outside the property lines. Well, this is Joe from PrepAgent. I hope that helps. These are some questions that we received this week that we wanted to highlight and share with all of you. Make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channels, our Instagram, and any other social media that we provide so you can stay updated with all we do and we can share with you whenever we get new information that can help you pass. Thanks. Remember, keep it concise and keep it simple.